All right, guys, so we got to talk about the new Velma show that is getting absolutely crushed in reviews. I mean, who could have predicted that this would have been a disaster, considering how the trailer, the first trailer that came out, was ratioed epically here, as it got 2.5 million views and 317,000 dislikes. And then they came out with another trailer that got 6 million views and another 317,000 to 10,000 dislikes. Yeah, people are not liking this show, right? They're not liking the show. They're not liking the concept of the show, and for good reason, because we all grew up knowing and loving Scooby-Doo, the original cartoon, for what it was, okay? And HBO-Max decided to make a new version of Scooby-Doo that doesn't feature Scooby-Doo but focuses on Velma, whom they've made woke, okay? And not only is she woke, she's also a blackface lesbian, right? Which is something that I don't think fans are really gonna like that much, okay? They're not gonna like Velma, who I remember growing up as like this nerdy girl who liked to solve mysteries. You know, she was the smart one in the group. They're not gonna like her transformation, obviously, okay? You're bastardizing a beloved childhood character, and you know, literally in the teaser trailer, they trashed fans who had problems or were going to have problems with this project, okay? So they already starting off trashing fans who may not like this project. Again, some people may ask, you know, why in the world do you care about this? Like, this is a cartoon, right? Why do you care? Well, the reason why I care is the same reason why they decided to go out of their way to make a woke version in the first place. Culture. They're not doing this for profit, because every single time Hollywood does this, where they go super woke, they don't make any money. You would think they've learned their lesson by now, but it's become obvious to me that it's not about profit for these people. It's about changing the culture, okay? This is why they're pushing a lot of these themes in mainstream TV shows and cartoons now, because they're trying to subconsciously change the way people think about certain issues and things in our society. And this is why I care. And in this woke reimagining of Scooby-Doo without Scooby-Doo, Velma's not the only character that they remade into their woke image. They reimagined all the other characters of Mystery Inc. as well. For example, like Shaggy, they turned him from a meth head into a crackhead slash pothead. They made Daphne Asian, okay? And apparently she deals drugs in the show. And Fred is some rich white guy who has a tiny penis. And apparently that is kind of a running theme in the show, of Fred having a tiny penis, right? Again, this is the type of stuff that Hollywood is putting out there that they think that people want to watch and that they want to see. They want to see their favorite childhood characters bastardized in a woke image that are engaging in all these adult activities in these adult themes. I'm not sure that's what people want, but again, Velma is, again, Indian. I know I said she was blackface, but she's Indian, and apparently her and Daphne share a kiss. They're lesbian. I don't know. Velma's going to explore her sexuality throughout this show or whatever. There's a whole lot of that kind of stuff going on. And again, fans ain't feeling it, okay? Even critics aren't really feeling it either, as it got a 53% from critics on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes, and a disastrous 7% audience score from the audience. These are some of the comments people are making. Super stupid. What in God's name were you even trying to do? Horrible. Please delete it. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Just when I thought they couldn't go wrong. So much in a story with so much potential and such rich characters. I came across this series. Probably one of the worst shows to ever come out, coming from a huge Scooby-Doo fan. Don't see this adaptation is like mental molestation. This was so bad to watch. I actually wanted to load a shotgun bullet into my head to both forget this show and also get my 20 minutes back from God face to face. This strays so far away from the original in a bad way. It's almost impossible to like, especially with the self-assertion and everything else that's wrong with it. The only good thing about it is that there's only 2 episodes available and they're only 20 minutes long. But even that's too long for such an awful show. Yeah, So people are not liking this show at all. And I think one of the main reasons why is because they bastardized this show so much in their woke image that it doesn't remind people of Scooby-Doo at all. So it's like, why even use the Scooby-Doo IP if it's going to be secondary to whatever your woke goals are with the show? And I think that's the problem here. They could have made this show and not use the Scooby-Doo IP, and nobody would have even thought that it would be anything related to Scooby-Doo. That is how far away it strays from the original creation, okay? And I think people are just kind of annoyed by that because it doesn't remind them of Scooby-Doo at all. And it's only a matter of time before the creators of the show or some of the cast of the show come out and say, well, criticism of this show is because fans are racist, right? It's a right-wing attack. That is what Seth Rogen said in response to his woke Christmas cartoon show that he made a couple years ago that got absolutely destroyed. He said, well, the fans are racist, right? It's only these racist white fans that hate me. They're the only people that don't like this show, and they are review bombing this show. This is an attack from the white supremacists, right? This is a white supremacy attack. That's literally what the guy said. Again, the denial is crazy. This is par for the course in Hollywood. When something goes wrong, when one of their shows does not perform as expected, they don't blame themselves. They don't look at themselves and say, okay, what can we have done better? Okay, why didn't the audience like this? They say, no, it's your fault, right? Because you're the audience and you're supposed to like anything that we put out because we're Hollywood and we're perfect, right? This is what they believe. But in this situation right here, they can't blame review bombing from the right or some type of politically oriented, attack on the reviews or whatever, for the reason why this show is failing. This show just legitimately is just disliked by everybody, okay? As you have the mainstream media here, Forbes to be exact, Paul Tassi, he writes, HBO Max's Velma is getting absolutely savaged in reviews and online. Yeah, so if you know the mainstream media is saying that it's bad, it's brutal, right? It's pretty bad. Velma always seemed like a bit of an odd experiment, a reimagining of Scooby-Doo in adult animation format where the danger is real and the jokes are more crass. It could have worked, but by all accounts, doesn't. Not at all. The first 2 episodes of Velma have arrived on HBO Max. They haven't really impressed critics, but audience reviews, those are brutal. Currently, Velma is reviewing with a very poor for HBO-Max, 50% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, and has only a 9% from hundreds of audience scores. Yeah, and it's getting lower, right? It's getting lower with the audience, okay? Getting even worse. Before you hop in and say, quote, well, this is people review bombing the show because it's made the cast more diverse. That's kind of one of the weirdest things here. Velma seems like it's upsetting both sides of its potential audience here. Sure, there will be the usual, quote, diversity recasting haters, but if you watch the show itself, it feels like it's almost making fun of shows that do diversity casting or social messaging. Yeah, so it's so bad that it seems like a parody, right? That's basically what he's saying. But, here's the thing. Diversity recasting, right? People say that, well, you hate shows that basically, bastardize the characters and make the shows woke, okay? That's a form of racism and hate. You just hate diversity. No, it's not hate diversity. I think that people hate diversity for the sake of diversity, okay? When there's diversity that actually makes sense, I think that people are okay with that. And when it's not thrown in your face, when it's not touted that, oh, this show is so diverse, when it's not obvious that they're trying to woke virtue signal with diversity, I think people are fine with it, okay? But when it comes to shows where it is obvious that the whole point of the show is to virtue signal, I think that's when people get annoyed by diversity. And I think one of the main ways to woke virtue signal is to bastardize a character and to make them, another race or something like that, right? Especially when you turn them from white to another race, because they never do the reverse, right? They'll never turn a non-white character into a white character. It's always white characters into non-white characters, or straight characters into non-straight characters, right? Or you take men and you turn them into not men. Okay, that is what they do every single time. It's led what you might have assumed would be more left-leaning fan base for the show to accuse creator Mindy Kaling of making it actually a somewhat conservative project, as people cite past comments she made and things like her liking recent J.K. Rowling tweets as evidence of her personal views. Yeah, so apparently Mindy Kaling, who plays Velma, Mindy Kaling is Indian. Apparently, her liking J.K. Rowling's tweets makes her transphobic, right? And because of that, the left-leaning fan base is saying that this show is not woke enough. In fact, it is a somewhat conservative project. Again, a Indian face or a brown face lesbian Velma with a crackhead Shaggy, a Fred that's made fun of because he's white and has a small penis, and an Asian Daphne that sells drugs, right? That is a conservative project according to the left. Again, that tells you just how far gone the left is, right? These people are they're in Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff world, right? They really are. They're not in touch with reality. Bad Writing Take says, Velma is extremely not good. It reads like a right-wing YouTuber's clumsy understanding of what a diverse show is, which, given that its showrunner is Mindy Kaling, who has faced criticism for transphobia and once described herself as way conservative, kind of makes sense. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Again, it tells you just how far apart both sides of the political aisle are here in regards to our worldview. Above all else, it feels like the humor just is not connecting for really any audience. The show feels like it's trying to annoy anyone that watches it, and the Scooby-Doo IP almost seems secondary to the entire concept. Scooby-Doo has found great success over the years as both a kids cartoon and with live action movies, and while it's possible some adult animation version of the concept could have worked, this iteration seems to have rubbed all potential audiences the wrong way. This is a show that finally has Daphne and Velma share a kiss, and yet its potential liberal audience is writing it off because of how antagonistic it feels. Yeah, I mean, if they would have made a Scooby-Doo that kept the original concept intact, right, and actually had Scooby, but just made it kind of rated R in the sense that, okay, there's some cursing, and there is more like gore, then I think it probably would have been fun, right? Or if they would have just made this a standalone show without the Scooby-Doo IP, who knows, it might have been better. I don't know. But the Scooby-Doo IP, along with the woke nonsense and the, rated R, content, I think people just like, okay, this is just not good. It's a shame because this really is a stellar cast here. Constance Wu, Sam Richardson, Glenn Harrington, and I've certainly liked Kaling's work before, whether that was back in The Office, The Mindy Project, or most recently, Never Have I Ever. But Velma, something went deeply wrong here, and it's getting roasted harder than pretty much any new show I've ever seen since The Witcher Blood original on Netflix, though even that climbed to a 13% audience score eventually. Right now, Velma has really nothing else to compare itself to in terms of how badly it's scoring, and it cannot blame a politically driven review bombing campaign, given that both sides of the aisle dislike it for different reasons. What a bizarre situation. Yeah, it's not woke enough, and it's too woke for those who like the original Scooby-Doo. Again, this is a disaster that Hollywood deserves. Again, I don't know how many times we're going to have to see these woke reiterations or reimaginations of these movies end up in a total disaster for Hollywood to finally get the message. It'll be very interesting to see what happens to the Blackface mermaid, right? It'll be very, very, very interesting to see what happens with that movie. But I actually think that movie's gonna do very well because I think the woke revolutionaries are gonna show out in droves to actually watch that. But we'll see. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.